The first movie I think that made an impression on me was Breakfast at Tiffany's. I was probably 8 or 9, and I saw it, and I had already been acting since then, but I think that's really when I realized what it meant to be an actor. I was about 5 and a half or 6 is when I first booked. I did like a couple print jobs when I was a kid in New York, and then when I moved to LA, I got super blessed and just booked Amityville Horror, which was, you know, at a young age, booking a big studio film like that is a big deal. It's a huge feat at that age to be able to cry. And so I did about 4 or 5 auditions, and I just had to cry every single time. It was the same crying scene to prove to everyone that I could cry and I wasn't turning myself crazy. When I found out about Kick-Ass, I was I think 10 when I found out about it, and then when I booked it, I was 11. The month before Wanted to come out with Angelina Jolie, and I was obviously obsessed with Angelina. And, you know, I told my mom, I was like, I want to do something really cool like Angelina, but like not super kiddie. You know, I don't want to be running around with like little laser guns and stupid stuff. And my mom was like, oh, that'll never happen, you're 11. Next thing you know, a couple months later, a script comes through, and she's like, Chloe, you're never going to believe this. They're actually making this movie called Kick-Ass, and it literally is an Angelina-type character in an 11-year-old girl. Immediately, we weren't afraid of it because I know that's not real life, and nothing's ever affected me like that, and I've never gone home like super depressed or, you know, doing anything crazy. And so she was never afraid of letting me do the movies. Basically, I got a call from my agency, and they were like, look, Martin Scorsese is making a movie. And immediately I was like, oh my god, it's going to be racy, it's going to be cool, it's going to be like really dark. And then they're like, well, you know, it's a movie called Hugo, it's his first kid's film. And I was like, oh, okay, and it was kind of caught me off guard. We're only casting local Brits because we want a real accent, we want the whole thing. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll do a tape and I'll, you know, audition for it. So I wore a little wig and I did everything in a British accent. I introduced myself as Chloe Grace Moretz in a British accent, and he loved it, and he flew me and Asa Butterfield, the kid who played Hugo, to New York, to where his office is, to audition for him in front of him. I flew out there, keeping up the act that I was British, that I was a British local who moved to LA. And then as I was leaving, I was like, okay, bye, Marty, because he was like, call me Marty, and I was like, okay, bye, Marty. And then he was like, wait, I was like, wait, what? Where'd your accent go? And I was like, funny story. I'm not British. I lied. To be honest, I feel most comfortable and most confident with myself when I am in front of a camera and on screen. I've learned to watch myself by watching myself in third person. So when I watch a movie of myself or I see pictures of myself, I comment as third person, not as, oh, I look good there. So I'll be like, oh, I like that, but that, you know, she could have done better. If I talk about, like, for instance, Carrie, I'll be like, oh, you know, Carrie, da-da-da-da. And I won't be like, oh, when I played Carrie. So it's kind of the only way I can watch it and judge myself very harshly. It's pretty cliche, but I like to fly, or I like to breathe underwater, because invisible is kind of terrifying. I don't want to see things that I don't want to see. And I'd rather not be able to have the power to walk into awkward situations and know too much. I'm a big fan of just turning my head and not knowing.